Hello and welcome to ETHRWorld TV. I'm Sneha Jha, editor of ETHRWorld, and with me today is Joanne Woo, Global VP, Division and Head, Marketing and Communications at ABB Process Industries, and Chithra Sharma, Chief Commercial Engineering and Projects for Tata Steel. Good morning, ladies. Thank you for joining us today. The pace of change over the last few years has been unlike anything we've ever seen before. But change, like digital transformation, needs to be inclusive, democratic, needs to break stereotypes of gender, geography, and generational shifts. All of these changes need to be mutually reinforcing. We need to embrace the "and" in inclusive innovation. So we are here today to talk to these lovely ladies about inclusive innovation, breaking stereotypes of gender, geography, generational shifts, and leadership rungs. We will also talk about digital transformation in process industries, the challenges women have faced in the past, how technology is helping alleviate some of these pain points, and the future of leadership in a truly inclusive, human-oriented workplace. We have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's get it started. Joanne, ABB works across multiple verticals. What makes digital transformation in process industries uniquely challenging?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So process industries such as metals, mining, cement, pulp and paper, the digital transformation, I would say, is three things that makes it challenging. One is that it's very complex because it also involves legacy systems. Many of these industries are hundreds of years old. So, there's a lot of different fragmented systems. The second one is that it involves a myriad of stakeholders. So from the shop floor to the boardroom and everyone in between. So you need to really get them behind the transformation. And the third one I would say is that you really need to implement digital transformation with as least of a disruption as possible, because any kind of downtime or disruption could cost thousands per minute for these type of industries.
Right, absolutely. You rightly mentioned legacy and scale and process, which are very critical to these industries. Now, where do you see the most exciting breakthroughs today in process industries and digital transformation that's driving these industries today?
Yeah, I mean, you can't talk about digital without saying AI, the special two letters of AI, right? So, I mean, we're seeing a lot of breakthroughs when it comes to generative AI, agentic AI. These are really the growth areas. And to give you an example, we've recently launched a solution called the Industrial Knowledge Vault. And this is based off a generative AI tool that really helps us bridge the gap. You talked about diversity and inclusion, bridge the gap between capturing the knowledge of, workers who've been there for 20, 30 years before they retire, so that we can actually transfer that knowledge to the younger generation and ensure that, that knowledge gap is bridged. And it equips and empowers the younger generation to then be able to solve challenges on their own.
Right. Now, from your interesting position or at the intersection of tech and narrative, what's one myth about digital transformation process industries that you wish would die?
That's a great question. I mean, I would say the myth is that it should be technology first. I think it really should be people first. All types of transformation, whether it's digital or any type of change, must start with the people, and then it must also really consider the business outcomes that it wants to achieve, rather than the technology.
Absolutely perfect. That's a perfect segue into my next question to you, Chithra. Heavy industries like steel have traditionally been male-dominated, with core operations and remote project sites often considered unsuitable for women due to physical, infrastructural, and cultural barriers. But now, with the growing integration of digital technologies, automation, and remote monitoring, we are reshaping the operational models, making the roles more accessible and inclusive, especially for women across geographies and functions. So, in your experience at Tata Steel, what kind of opportunities are now emerging for women in core business and technical roles?
Thank you for the question, Sneha. Yes, you're correct. So if I look back 20 years or 30 years back when I graduated, joining a manufacturing industry or a construction industry was really, really difficult for a lady. And it was not about only the infrastructure or the amenities, but it was also about the government policies which did not enable women to be in the shop floor. But things have changed a lot. Technology has actually enabled this change, and you can really do a manufacturing if outside a remote location. You have smart control rooms, which enables women to work from smart control rooms and control the plant. In fact, we have seen a lot of women now coming into manufacturing. I've seen a lot of women coming into construction, be it across Tata projects or L&T. I've seen that shift and change happening because of digitalization. In fact, in Tata Steel, we are going to come up with a 100% manned women workshop, manufacturing shop in Jamshedpur very shortly. You would have heard about Tata Electronics in Hosur, which is 100% women manned by women. And these are the biggest shift which is happening because of the enablement of technology. So I think this is the right step, and you will see a lot of diversity changing because of this.
Joanne, it's important to ensure that innovation and industrial automation does not solely focus on process efficiency, cost optimization, and workforce realignment. Inclusive innovation should cater to diverse disciplines, genders, geographies, and also leadership rungs. It should be culturally inclusive and workforce aware. So in a sector that is built on precision, structure, scale, and legacy, how should leaders create space for experimentation, failure, and democratic innovation?
I think psychological safety is very important. I think psychological safety, when you create a culture of that, then it allows experimentation to flourish. It allows people to feel brave enough to make mistakes, because mistakes and failures actually drive the greatest breakthroughs. So I think leadership needs to really drive this culture of psychological safety. I think secondly, for leadership to truly live by diversity and inclusion, because at the end of the day, you need to, the best innovation comes when you design with, not just design for. So you want to design with a myriad of different types of people, diverse people from the shop floor to the boardroom, different generations, different cultures, different geographies, different genders as well, because through that you will actually get a greater adoption of change.
Now, Joanne, I'm curious to know that if you were to write a playbook on leadership, on the future of leadership in process industries, what would the first 3 chapters be titled?
Oh, wow, what an interesting question. First three chapters. I think the first chapter would be lead with purpose. I think when you lead with purpose and you have a very clear why as to why you're doing what you're doing, this then gives the clarity to people and helps them come with you on that journey. The second one is really about failure. So I would title the second chapter, Failure Drives Growth. As I said before, we need to celebrate failure. Of course, we can't keep on failing without learning from it. But when we fail, if we can stop and reflect and see what we can learn from it and grow from it, either from a people perspective, technology perspective, change perspective, then I think that's a really good thing. And the third one, I would say, diverse voices, smarter choices. Diversity, when you have a room full of different mindsets and perspectives, that is really when you can unlock true innovation.
Right, absolutely. Chithra, as organizations adapt more inclusive cultures and modern talent strategies, women in leadership roles will play an important role in setting the tone, in breaking stereotypes like you mentioned earlier, and also in building workplaces that are diverse by design and not by default. So from your experience, how crucial is it to have more women leading the vision for a truly inclusive workplace?
See, it is really important for women to be part of this journey of leading this activity, but it's truly important also to have men playing a role in creating this whole environment. So if I look back and think, more organizations have actually done a lot in the term of retaining young talent, retaining the middle level managers. They worked on infrastructure, they worked on how to develop and nurture this talent. But the biggest challenge today, which I see for middle managers actually to move and create a leadership narrative, is about bringing that energy from them in self. What I mean is they actually lose out in this whole, they lose out their steam as they try to balance the work, balance the spouse's career, balance the, the locational disadvantage, and they really lose out the aspiration piece. They lose out the fire in the belly. And it is about the women now to grasp this, because opportunities are being given galore. And if I look at from my own example, so if I look about 25, 30 years back, I also thought that, if I grow in a certain vertical, I was in marketing and sales handling long products, and I thought like I can grow there only, and I was in a comfort zone. But the moment I broke that comfort zone, organization gave me opportunities, but it was up to me to grasp it. And the moment I broke that comfort zone, I moved into variety of roles, then world was open to me. And I really could move across, learn a lot of things, and each of these roles brought in a connect to each other. So it's about how women broaden their horizons, invest in themselves, and take this opportunity to fly, because that's what will make a difference. And that's how you will find that more and more managers are coming into the leadership level. And the moment these people come into the leadership level, they become role models. And then they give that connect and touch to the middle managers that we have also grown through that grassroots level. So you also can grow through the grassroots level and make a change. So that's what it is important. It's now up to the women to take it and go forward.
Right, absolutely. Companies can only be the catalyst. Women need to be self-motivated.
Yes.
Absolutely. Joanne, as someone who leads communication strategy, how do you make sure that the narrative of inclusion is embedded in the way innovation is brought to life?
Yes, I think narrative is so important because visibility matters. Just as what Chithra was saying before, when people can see the role models going through the ranks, in the top leadership levels, then it's the whole sort of adage of if you can see it, you can be it. So for those who are really shaping the narrative, it's really important to be conscious of the story that you're telling and also the representation that you're showing as well. You need to show stories and leaders from all walks of life. They all need to look different, because the more they look different, the more it normalizes differences as well. So I think communication strategy, communications, storytelling, bringing out the wonderful passion and stories of people, role models like Chithra. That is exactly what we want to do. And in fact, Chithra was one of our stars on our Unstoppable campaign. Unstoppable was really our way of raising the public visibility of women in industry, because all of these male-dominated industries, you don't often see women at the top. And you also don't hear their stories of how they got to the top as well. And also, it's not just a straight line. There are challenges, there's curveballs, but how do they get there? And what can we learn from them? And how do we pave the way for the rest of the others to follow? So that's what we're really proud of, is making those stories to bring it to light.
Right, absolutely. I'd like to take that thread to you, Chithra. Chithra, when we talk about true innovation stems from diverse voices, and you need to listen to hear them. Like Joanne mentioned, you were featured in the Unstoppable campaign. Why do you think it's important to raise that public visibility towards women leadership, towards leading that change on inclusive cultures? So,
thanks to Joanne, and I had the privilege of being featured as in the Unstoppable campaign. And I strongly feel that such public awareness helps people connect. And if you start connecting with such stories and you really create that impact, and people then aspire that, if it is possible with such women, then it is also possible for me. So that's when then they feel that, I think I need to put everything back and look forward and take it all and fly.
But Joanne, equity at the workplace is not just about ethics, it's also about economics. So when we talk about ABB's Unstoppable campaign, how do you see it bringing that impact both inside the organization and outside the organization, like Chithra talked about?
I think inside the organization, it unlocks true innovation, because as I said before, you do need, people of different mindsets to come together in a safe environment where they feel psychologically safe, to really brainstorm ideas, brainstorm solutions to big problems. And let's face it, the state that we're at in the world, there are a lot of big challenges, and it doesn't take just one type of narrow mind or one type of mindset to be able to solve that challenge. You need lots of different diverse voices. I think from an external perspective, what is really important is the way that we speak to the younger generation and attract younger talent. Because if we look at the industries that we're in, we are in sort of quite older industries, traditional industries, and there is a skills shortage. And it's not just a skills shortage of people, but it's also a skills shortage of the types of new skills that we need. And this is really from the younger generation. So how do we speak to them? How do we attract them to come and work for our organizations? And the only way of doing that is to show them diversity, purpose, excitement, impact.
Now, Chithra, when we talk about representation, it's not just a metric, but also a mindset shift. So in an industry like Joanne mentioned, which is largely very male-dominated, how do you think public campaigns like Unstoppable can help move the needle and help rewrite the leadership narrative?
So one part I say that, breaking stereotypes and breaking barriers is what actually was actually the whole thing which was shaping this industry and shaping this whole public awareness campaign. So why did I say breaking stereotypes is whenever a person used to come into an industry or an interview, the first question a person would ask a woman is, are you married? If you get married, will you change the location? Will you stop working? So that was a mindset stereotype which needed to be broken. And hence, when we went into recruitment or any such things, that barrier started moving out. The second barrier which we really had to question is that you stereotype a role to a woman. You stereotype that women is good in doing a HR, human resource role, or into an IT sector role or a banking role. And you would see a lot of women leaders had grown in this sector. If I look in Indian diaspora, if you look at it about 15 years back, these industries, you could see a lot of women leaders actually coming up. But then that stereotype had to be broken. And it really brings that thing that, start moving. Like when even I joined in steel industry, marketing and sales is not as, it's not a manufacturing field, but even there, women were very limited. So it was about, breaking that thing that no, women can work in any aspect. It's about giving that opportunity. And I have seen women really taking it upon their stride and, taking it forward. So that's, these all the things which you give exposure to people. So in my role and I have actually had the opportunity to interact with a lot of people in the developing nations and developed nations. The barriers of the stereotyping is almost similar across geographies. It really doesn't change much. So, so all these public awareness campaigns are the way we lead this thought process. So it changes the thought process of not only the women, it changes the thought process of the men. Because many a times men also are structured to believe that this is what it is. If that change is to happen, this public awareness actually gives them that broader horizon to think. So if you see now today, men are able to accept these things for their daughters, which they did not accept for their wives years back, or for their mothers years back. For them, mother has to be at home to receive them, like coming home, and the children are expecting the mother should be there. The larger part of the household work should be taken by the mother. But things are changing. And that's what is this whole public awareness campaigns bring about a change. So every step change will have a different type of campaign. So that makes a difference, opens out the whole thing for everybody.
Joanne, nothing in the world is more captivating and impactful than a good story. And who would know that better than you? So how do you think storytelling public campaigns like Unstoppable can help shift not just the perception, but also the aspiration of women in industries?
I think people will always be attracted by stories, because it's part of who we are. It's part of how we grew up. We grew up on stories. And in older generations, people would tell stories to teach people.
We all end up becoming a story.
We all have a story. We all have a story. And I think there is a power to storytelling to really inspire people and to drive action. And I mean, Unstoppable came up because of my daughter, my 12-year-old daughter. And I looked at her and her friends and her generation, and I said, I want them to feel fearless. I want them to feel unstoppable. I mean, the word unstoppable is so powerful in itself, right? It means that no matter what, yes, you will face challenges, you will face obstacles, there will be some tough things that come in front of you, but you just don't stop. And also, by the way, you don't just stop for yourself, you don't stop for the rest. You know, you bring them with you, you lift them up. And I think stories like Chithra, I mean, you can hear the passion in her voice. Yes. And she's got such an amazing story. And there's also many stories like Chithra all around the world in lots of different industries. And in fact, after Unstoppable, with the first 3 women, amazing women that we featured, it created a movement. We started to hear, you know, people in Peru, in Chile, in Singapore, in Sweden, in Finland, in France, in Australia, people saying, hey, I also know this woman who is amazing. Let's tell her story. And so Unstoppable became a global movement. And so now there's just so many amazing stories of women being unstoppable in industry, inspiring girls and other women and men to just keep on going. Yeah, to have the fire in their belly.
Right, absolutely. That's a very motivating and encouraging note to wrap this session on. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Chithra, for sharing your insights and your experiences, your stories with us. It's been absolutely inspiring, encouraging, and insightful talking to both of you. In the time that we had, we covered a lot of ground. We spoke about digital transformation, process industries, the industrial sector, and the challenges that women faced in these sectors, and how technology is helping them obviate some of these pain points. We also spoke about inclusive leadership, creating that culture for women in the workplace, and also about the future of leadership and the power of storytelling campaigns like Unstoppable, and some shining examples like Chithra, who've participated and been a part of this campaign. Thank you so much, ladies, for spending your time with us. Thank you for the time and effort. It was wonderful talking to both of you. Thank you once again, and more power to both of you.
Thank you, Sneha.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Chithra Sharma and Joanne Woo as much as I did. Thank you for watching.